be such a major thing with Helena Handbasket too, is that like it's a persona, like what do you consider, like an alter ego? She's a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She very much, I refer to her in third person because she has taken on a life of her own.
Yeah.
And like to distinguish that Anthony is not Helena and Helena is not Anthony. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but
No, it doesn't sound crazy at
there are
all.
things Helena would do that I would never dream of doing, and vice versa.
I love that.
Oh, some of the vile and disgusting things I've done to people at drag shows. I think I go home and think, did I just really do that? Oh my God.
Amazing.
I mean, some pretty off color, interesting.
We're ready. Hit me. Give me a story.
There may or may not have been body parts in my hand at one point or
like
another.
ears and
That's exactly
toes.
what we're going to go with. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I holding this at the right distance?
We're good. Great. Okay. Anthony Smallwood, thank you so much for being on the Inside the Block podcast. I've been dying to interview you since forever.
Since forever.
Oh my
Since
gosh.
I first laid
eyes
Well,
on
I'm
you.
excited to be here. Thank you, honey.
Absolutely. And thank you for letting us film in LexArts.
This is kind of home away from home for me. I love this old building built in 1904. All of the creaky floors and everything about it, it really desperately needs some major, she needs a facelift and she needs her inner workings worked on. Bathrooms need to be replaced and there's so much that needs to happen. But gosh, we need to find a way to make it happen because this old building is, it was the original YMCA.
Oh, cool. I did not know that.
And then in 1921, it became the YWCA, and we've had it now for decades. The city ended up with it, and we got it from the city, and now it houses not just LexArts, but other arts organizations, and we have event space, and so yeah, I love this old place.
Now that you mention it, was this like the gym?
This was the gym.
Yeah, it looks like
that
a
was
gym
the running
floor.
track.
Oh,
up above us.
that's so funny.
Yeah, look how low that bar is. I wonder how many people fell over.
Yeah, watching other people play.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, very cool. So tell us about LexArts. What do you do?
So I'm the director of development here. So basically, I am the fundraiser guy, the guy that's out there that hopefully people don't run from, asking for donations and making people aware of why those donations matter. And I'm passionate about what I do. So it's, I say I'm not really that person that's a salesperson, but I share the opportunity to corporations and individuals to and give them the opportunity to be connected to something really cool. And if they see the value and the connection and want to coordinate with us, then that's beautiful. And if not, then maybe LexArts isn't their thing. There's enough to go around for everybody. I believe that. And so I'll move on to the next person. I never want anyone to feel pressured into a donation, but we're a pretty cool organization.
Yes, you are.
And knowing that we give back, that we take that money that we raise, and we give that back to right here in our community for the beautification, to other artists and leaders of projects, so that our city can be the best, that it can be.
Yeah.
That makes me proud. And so,
Absolutely.
that's what I do. In a nutshell, that's what I do.
Yeah. And what is the mission of LexArts for those that might not know?
We try to make arts accessible to everyone. And what that means is not just people that create art. You should not be hindered from being able to create because you don't have the money to do so. There are some brilliant, amazing songwriters and painters and sculptors out there, but they don't know it yet because they've never picked up an instrument or they've not ever
Had
grabbed
access.
a
Yeah.
brush. So making sure that everyone has the opportunity to participate in creating art, but on the other side of it, you appreciating the arts should not be limited to just those people with enough money to buy a ticket to the opera house. Theater and music and gallery spaces like this need to be accessible to everyone. And so it is a real drive of ours to never, ever let anyone sacrifice their love of the arts because they don't have the funds or because they don't have the means to appreciate it. And it's a very non-judgmental space. We are open to everyone. We love everyone. We celebrate everyone. What makes us more colorful and makes us a more fun organization are all of the diversity that is involved with LexArts. I mean, we've got all the colors, all the ages, all the genders, all the stuff, and we love it. We love it. We don't just accept it; we thrive on it. That's what makes us who we are.
I love that. So are there like classes too? And like how does one get like really involved? Like if I were interested in a certain art form that, speaks to me, but I've never really had access to like the materials or the tools to do that, I just hop on the website or.
There are all kinds of resources on our website that could connect you to other artists and other projects. But there are also, like for people that are creating art, they can go on and apply right there from our website for grant money. And then it's a cycle. So then we have a committee, not just people in-house, but people from the community too, a committee that sits and reads all the applications and decides what would make the biggest bang in our community for the money that they're asking for. And sometimes we can give a full grant. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes it's like, this sounds worthwhile. We would love to be a sponsor, but we can't be the full sponsor for that project because it would take away from these others, that we see also as necessary to the community. But yeah, so yeah, the website is where you would go to get that information.
Excellent.
We've got all kinds of good stuff there.
Speaking of websites and looking on the deep dark web, the interwebs, I did a little Google of you.
Oh dear.
Before I came.
Oh,
I'm pretty well versed in everything Anthony Smallwood and Helena Handbasket. And what I will say is that your past employment history has been inspirational. There's no other way to put it. Like, you have done so many things. Inspirational. Well, I did a major career change myself a couple of years ago. And you were at one point the Lexington Herald Leader obituary manager from 2006 to 2012. So
I like
obituaries, arts, Helena.
I put the old bitch in obituary. Yes.
Love it. I love it.
The fun in funeral home.
Yes, the puns. So what was it like being the obituary manager of the Herald Leader?
It was good. I was there 6.5 years or so. And it was a good job. It was when the newspaper business was still, a daily paper and all the stuff and the crazy daily
before it
deadlines.
got online.
But yeah, it was an important job. I took it very seriously, because that is one of your worst times of your life.
Sure.
And the last thing you want to see is grandma's name misspelled.
Of course.
So, we took a lot of pride in making sure it was right and honoring those who had passed.
What led you to? Oh, sorry.
I didn't, people used to say, oh, didn't that just tear you up to go in and do that every day? Not to be cold-hearted or anything, but unless it was someone I knew, it was kind of just data entry. I was just writing about hypotheticals. I didn't have that personal connection to them. So while it was important to handle that with reverence, I also didn't get emotional about it. And sometimes somebody would come across the desk and I'd say, oh, gosh, I knew them, or, oh, I went to school with them, or, oh, we dated once. It's like, how'd you live this long? So there were all, there could be emotions some days, but yeah, that was fun.
How could you have lived without me?
That's right.
Yeah.
My friend Michael was HR manager, and he is the one that called me and said, hey, I've got something you ought to do. And I had just moved back to town because we lived in Minnesota for 4.5 years.
Okay.
But we had just moved back to town. And so he said, you need to take your bathrobe off and put on some real clothes and come and apply for this job.
Yeah.
And then when he told me what it was, I laughed at him. I thought he was just messing with me. And he said, no, I'm actually serious. It's open. And I said, whatever. And I went and applied just to shut him up and got the job. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm writing obituaries now. There you go. Just wasn't on my plan, the life plan. What do you want to grow up and do one day?
I want to write about death.
I want to write about dead people. Yeah, that was not my thing,
Yeah.
but it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And here we are. Yeah. So did you go in and report to the old Herald Leader building over on like, what is that,
On
Midland and
Midland.
Main? Yeah.
My office was on the fourth floor.
Amazing. I love that.
That's
Yeah. That
right.
building has gone through quite a, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's where I got one of my COVID shots.
Was it?
Yeah. Because it was like defunct. And then all of a sudden, they were using it as just like pop up, get your COVID vaccine spot. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
I know.
There you go.
Okay. Then you were at AVOL, Community Engagement Manager. Tell us about your times at AVOL.
That was a really wonderful experience as well. Being a man of a certain age, when I was approached about bringing my skills and my knowledge and my connections in the community to an organization like AVOL, it didn't take me long to think about it. I knew that it was worthwhile. I knew that it was a good cause. And I felt like I would be a good fit. And for 6.5 years, I was a good fit, and it was a good job. And I didn't leave with any kind of animosities or, bad feelings. I completely still support their mission of keeping people safe and housed and healthy. But it was a heavy subject matter every day. And after a while, I just thought, you know what, I need to, that was good. I'm glad I did it, but if something else presents itself,
Yeah.
then I would definitely look at it seriously. And when the LexArts thing presented itself,
Yeah.
it was everything I wanted, because
I'm
I've
so
always been in the arts world,
Yes, you
So I
have.
was like, okay, this is it. This is the right fit.
I'm so glad. Where were you born and raised? On a different planet? Well.
Born in Richmond, Indiana.
Okay.
And raised between Richmond, Indiana, and Beattyville, Kentucky, and North Vernon, Indiana, and Stanton, Kentucky, and Lexington, and all
Were you
the
a
places.
pirate? You're just moving around.
We moved around a lot.
Yeah.
I was, one of those families
Cool.
that we that was fun. Now let's move on.
Yeah.
Oh, we're moving to a new city. And so I became that kid that would go into a classroom full of, in the middle of a school year, and everybody already had their friends and everything. And I was the new kid that would walk in, and that happened so many times. By the time I graduated high school, I think I had moved like 28 times. In my life. So it was crazy. It was a crazy time, but it taught me life skills that
I'm
still
sure.
work with me, because I walk into a room, and even when I'm nervous, or even if I'm apprehensive or not really in the mood, you just kind of suck it up and realize, okay, here we go again. Let's
Turn
go.
it on.
Let's go make some people like us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you ever thought about if you already kind of had that sort of gregarious and outgoing personality, and that served you well all of those years you had to do that, or those experiences affected you to be more like that?
My answer to that is yes.
Both?
I think it was always there inside of me someplace, but I wasn't in situations where I could utilize that. Being from a more conservative, very rural, and nothing wrong with being rural. It was some of my favorite people are still live out there in the country. But being that kid that was different than most other kids, I did a lot of suppressing whatever that creative side was inside of me as much as I could, because you didn't want to draw attention to yourself, because you were different, right? And God forbid, as a teenager, you show your differences. You're supposed to be just like everybody else and conform to what's popular and what's cool. And so, there was a little bit of that, but then I was over here feeling this way and thinking these thoughts and listening to this music while, none of my friends were listening to Barbra Streisand so much when I was in high school. They were listening to Queen, and not that I didn't listen to Queen. I have a bunch of their albums still, but I tell people Barbra Streisand taught me how to sing, because I would close my bedroom door and put on my Star is Born soundtrack and see if I could hold the notes as long as she could, and sing along with her. So I jokingly say, Barbara Streisand taught me to sing.
Yes. It had to have been therapeutic.
She
too.
doesn't know.
She
taught me
doesn't
to sing.
know. She needs
But,
to know.
She should know. And now she will, because I'm sure she's watching this.
We'll send this to her.
We'll send this to her. Hey,
and she'll
Babs.
love it. Babs.
She hates
Mwah.
Babs. I think she hates to be called that. I'm sorry, Barbara. Please
That's
forgive
right.
me.
We'll call you whatever you want.
I'll call
Okay.
her anything.
I have a million Helena Handbasket questions.
Who? Helena who?
Helena who?
Helena Handbasket.
For any of our listeners or viewers that don't know who Helena Handbasket is, how would I didn't even write this down. Like, how would I sum her up on the fly? An icon, a legend, a Lexington legend, but not baseball.
Although she did throw out this first pitch one time.
Did she?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
In a League of Their Own style sequin dress.
Oh,
from the pitcher's mound. She didn't take a few steps forward either. She's bad.
She would
She's
never.
That girl.
She would never.
She's also sang when you said legends.
Yes.
See, my mind just boom, squirrel. She has sung the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, where?
At the Legends Ballpark.
At the Legends Ballpark.
For a game.
Fantastic.
Yeah. You know,
So
all
she's
the fans
sportsy.
love that. She's not really sportsy, but she likes for the boys to have the opportunity to play with the balls, you know, all the basketballs and softballs. That's what I meant,
Sports ball, of course.
And sports ball is fun.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
she supports all the athletes.
All the athletes.
You know.
All the athleticism
All
here in
the
this
athleticism.
great city of Lexington.
Yes. All the bats, all the balls, all the stuff.
I am embarrassed to say, all the bats especially, I'm embarrassed to say that I have seen Helena perform multiple times, and I think it was at least 2 or 3 years in that I had realized that the name itself is a pun. Is that not the most embarrassing? Like, hell in a handbasket, which is a very famous phrase, but I'd always seen it written as Helena Handbasket, and I was like, oh, that's funny, you know. And then it like dawned on me. I think I was at a movable feast, one of those. So I know, just dumb, you know. Don't tell her that.
But you know what? You would be surprised. So many people don't
get it.
They really don't get it. And you know they don't get it, especially when Helena's getting ready to do a show and she gets introduced and they say, here she is from Lexington, Kentucky, Helena Handbasket or Helena Handbasket. They're trying to make her, you know, this elegant Helena. Helena.
She's worldly traveled.
It's like, no, she's just Helena. She's just plain old Helena.
Just Helena.
And then I tell them, go to Helena Handbasket. And they're like, why are you saying it so slow? I'm like, you're still not getting it, are you?
Because I'm educating
But you're
you.
pretty.
Yeah. So what is the origin of the name? Why did she decide on
There
that?
may or may not have been adult beverages involved. And oh gosh, this really is a story. Do you really want this story?
Yeah, 1,000%.
The GLSO then, now it's the Pride Center, but the GLSO did a monthly newsletter and they wanted content. And just on a fluke, I thought, well, I'll start writing a little article, but I'm going to do it anonymously. No one will know who's actually writing the article. So I made it an advice column. And
like Dear Abby?
Kind of like a Dear Abby thing, but, you know, tongue-in-cheek comedy, aimed more toward LGBTQ issues and folks, of course. And so the name of the article became Need Advice, ... Go to Helena Handbasket.
So
that was the play on words, you know, like, oh, you can just go to Helena Handbasket if you think I'm going to tell you any advice, you know. Well, then so then we spelled it because we thought that would be the joke, right?
Yeah.
And so people would email in questions and I would answer those questions. And about a year into it, someone sent to the email where people would send questions, sent in and asked if Helena would walk in the 4th of July parade with them that year. And I was like, oh, gosh. What does Helena Handbasket even look like? So
Oh, you hadn't even thought about it before?
It was just behind a computer is all Helena was. And so that's how she was born. And then the first time she was ever out in public was July 4th of 2008, July 4th parade, and walked the entire parade, wore out a pair of shoes, and the blisters on my heels told me about it. Yeah, that was a memory. But that was the first time in a dress that had been stapled and duct taped together because I had no idea how to use a sewing machine. And people loved her, and people wanted to hug her, and people and I thought, well, there's something to this old silliness,
Yeah.
you know. And someone saw me that day who was involved with the Imperial Court of Kentucky, another nonprofit in town that raises money for good causes. And they invited me to come and do one of their shows to raise money for their charities. And I kind of got hooked a little bit. I had
Yeah.
always done theater since I was in school. And so it was kind of just a new way of my theater. But instead of a script, it was a character I developed. And so she became part of Anthony's world.
How has she developed over the years? Like, has she seen different iterations? Is she changed in certain ways?
Good question. At the beginning of Helena's world, the advice I always tried to give her was give them what they don't expect. Don't be predictable. Don't just do the same old thing, mix it up a little bit, throw on a different color hair, or, wear an outfit that they're like, oh, really? Oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd ever see you in that. I can show some leg. So yeah, she's gone from, she's taken a lot of chances, and everything in life changes, right? So she is a lot different than she was when she started in 2008. Lot different. And she's not as progressed as she will be in 2028.
Ever evolving.
We evolve.
We love a self-reflective queen.
And so I'm sure Helena will have to make lots of changes when she starts, when they bring late night television back out, now that they've let Stephen Colbert go, because they're going to probably be calling Helena to host that.
Absolutely.
And I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
That was kind of when I was growing up. They used to say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I used to say, Johnny Carson.
Yeah, a talk show host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It looks like the funnest job ever.
I'm manifesting that
Absolutely. As we speak. Same.
Yes, it's going to happen.
It's like
maybe this year, maybe next.
Yeah.
Either one is okay.
Either one is okay. And she'll be ready. I know she will.
It'll come to me when it's supposed to,
That's
if
right.
it's supposed to. I believe
right.
that.
How long does it take Helena to get ready for an event? And what's involved?
From the time that the stubble gets removed from my face to the time, so I sit down in the chair, and from the time I sit down in the chair after shaving until I'm dressed and ready to hit the door, I like to give myself two full hours.
Okay.
I've done it in like an hour and 10 minutes. My makeup probably reflected that. But yeah, I like to take a good solid 2 hours to get ready to make sure that, they're getting the full Helena.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a question I'm really interested in your answer. How has the Lexington drag culture changed over the time that you've seen it? And really, your experience, this is a really big question, but the LGBTQ plus community in Lexington too, then, now, the future, drags, relationship with that. Are we a good, this is 16 questions, by the way, at once, but
good.
yeah,
Okay.
great. Just like a bullet pointed list.
Can I get a clip note?
A little clip
Yeah.
note. How do we compare? Like, we start with this. How do we compare in Lexington to other cities too? I mean, in regards to, are we doing a good job in having resources for the queer community? Are we doing a good job with making sure that drag is an opportunity that's out there? Obviously, we're in a really interesting state that likes to create lots of horrible,
Right.
terrible rules, legislation, etc. Sorry, you can pick any of those questions to start with.
Yeah, well, when I was born that's a big question.
Yeah.
And yes, as we already covered, everything changes. Gosh, that is such a big question. That how do I address that? Because I've got all kinds of
Sure.
answers. Just from the time I started in 2008 to the drag scene now, yes, it is very different. Uh, because so much happens online, and because so many opinions are out there online, um, it's not as I don't feel like there's as strong a connection with all of the performers as there once was. I'm sure there are other performers that would argue with me on that, but for me, I don't feel like I'm as much a part of the sisterhood as I used to be. And part of that, I blame myself, is because I step back and I kind of redefine what works in my life and works for Helena. And that's not always the popular thing in the local drag culture. But um, taking it in the great big picture,
Yeah.
being a man of a certain age, I remember going to the bars before the internet, before I ever had a cell phone, before anyone knew what a cell phone was. I remember going to the bars. Yes, I am that old. And I know that surprises you, right?
It
All
really
these
does.
highlights, these gray
Shocking.
silver highlights in my hair.
Shocking.
No, I don't make any bones about it. I'm 61. I just turned 61. And
Happy birthday.
thanks. Well, it was a month or two ago, but you know, I claim every year because you know, I've gotten here. I've whatever it took. But back to your question. I remember when going to the bars, you would meet people, you would talk to people. There was no other way of connecting. So that's kind of where you went. And when you went to see a drag show, it was an event. You went for the show. Now I think it's a lot of we go because it's kind of trendy and it's popular, and then we're going to get this table of 8 that they were so excited that they're supporting the LGBTQ world, and they're a fan of drag, and then they want to sit there and giggle and talk and scream through the whole show. And I'm kind of like, honey, shut your hole, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And Helena will speak out right
As she should.
in the middle of a show and tell people to show some respect to the
Absolutely.
performers. So in that way, it's changed, not necessarily for the better. I miss those old days when you walked into a club and you felt that energy and that excitement of just being there.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you went into the show, it was a big deal. It wasn't, you had people that were truly giving a performance. You would almost feel like you were watching an episode of the Carol Burnett show, because there were skits and there were comedy numbers and there was a dance number, and then there would be someone in a full gown that gives this torch song, and it was just this well-rounded performance. And there's still a lot of that out there, but it just seems like it's gotten a little more, I don't know. I don't know the word I'm trying to look for, but
No, I know what you mean.
people assimilate a little bit more than they used to.
And as somebody, I go to the bar complex pretty often and love the
Love it there.
performances there.
I love it there. Love the
Same.
girls.
Me too. I think they do a really great job. But
Girls and boys.
girls and boys. That's right.
That's right.
Girls and boys and girls. They do a really great job of, allowing people to get kind of into it without shutting them down too much. But there's times like people need to be shut down, and it's usually like women. It's like giant groups of women that are there for like bachelorette parties or like girls' night out, and can't contain the fact that they want to they think it's a sing-along,
Right.
and they need, there's this, it's really interesting that you brought that up.
But you know what? Even if it is a sing-along, if they're singing along and it becomes part of the number, I don't even hate that as much as I do if I'm out there doing a number and they're having their own conversation, their own party over there, and they're being so loud with that it takes away from the number. I'm pretty thick-skinned. I've had to learn how to be, but if the table next to them
Is there
is
for the
really there into the performance and they're being distracted, now you've offended, not just shown no respect to the performer on the stage, whether it be me or whoever it is, but now you've also offended those people because they didn't come here. They're not part of your party. You're stealing from their experience of watching the show. So if you need and want to be that loud, there's tables outside the showroom that you can go and have that party and go upstairs to the dance floor and holler and dance your ass off. But show some respect to the performers that
Totally.
have spent buku's money. Honey, it's nothing to have a $600-700 dress for one number. You know, by the time you get the fabric and the sequins and all the rhinestones, and then you get a seamstress, a designer to put it together for you, and then, you know, I mean, it's an investment, and then all the jewelry and the hair. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be a hairdresser, so I've got over 100 wigs at my house. Oh, honey, yeah, come on over. We'll play.
100.
We'll just
I'm
if
gonna be
we can
taking
get
your-
all that hair up under a wig, we'll dress you right
I'll
up, honey.
I'll just shave it
I'll
for
put you in drag. You'll be fabulous. But you know, so they've put all this effort into learning the words. They should know the words. A drag queen that doesn't know the words, I have no patience for that.
I agree.
But know the words, learn the, you know, do a choreography if you want to, or whatever it is. You know, you've paid for the dress, you've got the hair and the jewelry and the nails and the shoes. Show them some respect. They've put so much into that just to walk out for that 3-4 minute number.
Definitely.
Show some respect.
Yeah.
You owe it to them.
Yeah.
And or if that's not your thing, don't be there. Honey, every drag brunch I've done at Epping's so far, since January of 2020, 2 months before COVID shut everything down, we were off for just over a year, and then we started them back up in August of 2021. But knock on wood, every single drag brunch we've done there so far has been sold out.
Oh, I know. It's actually really
And
tough
I'm not
to get
saying
tickets.
that, look at me, I'm bragging, hey,
Yeah.
Epping's has done an amazing job of promoting it and providing a space and the food. They are truly, they're not just a safe space for LGBTQ people, they're a safe space for everyone. They really get that diversity makes the world go around, and they celebrate that. That's why I love to attach the Helena Handbasket brand with Epping's.
Oh, I love that.
But it's also a testimony to the girls that, you know, when they come and do our little brunch, they bring their A game, their nicest costumes. They put on a show. They absolutely bring the energy and the performance. And people report back to me, you know, I'm not out there. I'm in the dressing room getting ready for my next number. So I don't always see what they've done out there. But people come back to me and they report, you know, this one was great. This one shouldn't have done that. This one should, you know, but I get very few ever negative comments because people know it's a special thing and they bring their A game. So
Is a drag
gosh,
brunch?
that was, I don't know where.
No, I love that
answers all of
though.
them.
I love that because Epping's is so inclusive. It's such a beautiful space.
Isn't that a great
And
space?
and just the whole warehouse block
Yeah.
in general.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just really good, inclusive, and there's like something for everybody. I
Yeah.
feel like there. Yeah.
Helena is going to be at the Willow on Friday, February
I
13th.
heard right around.
Doing her one-woman show. So that's just live vocals and comedy. No other performers but her. And
With the
it's from
piano?
7 to 9. I think
You can have an
she's going to actually be
accompanist?
using tracks, sadly.
No,
She
that's okay.
doesn't, she's been trying to hook up with an accompanist, but getting our schedules together and learning, you know, the songs and putting in the time, you know, it's hard to get someone to
course.
invest that time into my performance, you know, because they want to get paid, of course, for the performance, but they want to get paid for all of the stuff too. And, you know, let's face it, it's not like Helen is, you know, making the huge big bucks, so she can't be, oh yes, I'll just drop thousands on that orchestra.
I mean,
and that jazz band and that, you know.
I heard 100 wigs. I just assumed
I
you were
mean, yeah.
rolling in dough.
Well, 100 wigs since 2008. So
So it's been a slow burn collection.
Yes,
Yeah. But you are so unique in the sense that most, well, for a million reasons, but most drag queens, you know, drag is lip sync traditionally.
Yeah.
And you sing. You actually really sing. Like I heard you sing the national anthem at the Gay Polo League of America this past summer, like out on this huge polo field, you know?
Why not?
Why not? So where did
not?
the real singing come from? And I've also seen you on the fly sing at TD's Lounge on Monday nights and stuff. And I'm like, where?
Anthony, not
Anthony,
Helena.
not
Yeah,
Helena.
yeah.
Exactly. I
Helena's
was like,
not been to TD's yet.
woo.
Woo, that should be fun.
I feel like he'd love her.
He's been to Helena's brunch at Eppings though.
Oh, okay, good.
TD has.
Great, great.
Yeah. Where did that come from? Where does that come from? I mean, I think it just comes from the fact that I've always done musical theater since I was in high school. And so it's kind of I love to sing. And so when it's appropriate to the show I'm doing, I like to throw a song in there, but I lip sync also, in my other shows, but like my one woman show, it's all live vocals,
Love it.
and stories and jokes. And I try to give people lots to laugh at and a little bit to think about and something to take home with them. So
You're good at that though. You're very witty. You're very quick on your feet. Like you're
sometimes even sitting down.
But you're also like even when you MC for a movable feast, the Diva 12. No, we don't call it. It's not 12 Divas of Christmas.
Right.
Sleigh bells. Sleigh bells. I mean, you've got to be quick up there, and you are. And I feel like I don't know. You're just kind of like a quadruple threat. You got it all.
Oh well, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I know. I do. You don't have something like funny to say back to that, or like something witty, or.
No,
not today.
From now on, the rest of this interviews, I'm just going to give you yes and no.
Yes and no. Yes, that's right.
Because I'm tired.
And that's all that we deserve. Speaking of the queer community in Lexington, though, maybe I could talk to you for 16 hours, but we'll wrap up because you have places to go and people to see.
I do.
I'm busy. There was a quote that you had said at the Kentucky Theater, and it was before Bob Morgan's. Bob's just going to tell some stories. You were there, or Helena was there, and Helena had said,
and was so proud to be there. By the way,
absolutely, yeah. And that was a really incredible event, I think, for lots of reasons. Yeah, that meant a lot to the community for sure. Helena said, "I'm a dude in a dress. It's a drag queen. We are here, the freaks, the queers, the social rebels, along with the many of those who love and support us and actually encourage us to be our authentic selves." So what does the Lexington community mean to you? Mean to like how and in what ways can Lexington be better about supporting the queer community?
Phew.
It's a big question.
There's going to be a lot of people rolling their eyes and mad at me for this probably. First of all, I think the queer community needs to take a hard, cold look at itself, and we need to decide what it is we're putting out there. When we are putting, society has always needed those rebels and those people that stepped outside the box and, the attention grabbers and, the over the top to make people think and change and adapt. I mean, that's necessary to a degree. But I don't feel like, I think I can do more good being just myself and not having to always put on the show. I think I can attract a lot more people to see the humanity of the LGBTQ community just when I can connect on their level. And that doesn't mean I have to look like them. That doesn't mean I have to think like them, talk like them, act like them. But I do have to connect with them. And if what I'm doing is preventing making that connection, then I need to look at myself and say, why did I offend that person and they walk away just as I was walking up to them? What about my appearance? What about me? And that could be on them. And maybe sometimes that's going to happen. I get that. But as long as you're always a little bit aware, self-aware, and cognizant of how is this going to be received for where I'm going. If your desire is to shock and to be in your face and non-apologetic, okay. But if you're if you're trying to connect or get a job or make a friend or get or whatever, you need to consider, don't leave angry because you didn't make that connection if you really didn't do the work to figure out how to connect. And sometimes that's in the way we look, the way we talk, the way we act, not changing who we are. I'm not saying be inauthentic, but I can be just as wild and flamboyant and crazy as I want to be, or I can tone it down. And knowing when is appropriate for each is, to me, important. Now, again, this is my opinion. I'm sure a lot of the people would just blast me for this because it is the cancellation, the time and space
Cancel
of
culture.
cancel culture. Yeah. And that's my opinion. And I don't make any apologies for who I am or how I think. Convince me otherwise.
I think
I'm open to all the discussions. See, that's how I grow. When you tell me something I don't know, even something that you observe about me that I might not be self-aware of, you know what? That's how we grow. And I can either choose to agree with you or I can choose to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. But if I look at if I approach it with an open heart and an open mind, and then I self-reflect, it's like, you know what? Huh. Yeah. What about that? She's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Is that what I want to put out there? And then ask yourself that. And maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, I can do better. So if I wanted to say anything to the LGBTQ plus community, let's do better. We can do better. Present ourselves in a way that is going to get the attention we want in the spaces that we want to be in. Don't let the way we look, act, sound prevent us from having the conversations that we have got to have. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful.
And,
and there's also growth in authenticity, like you had said.
And I'm not always authentic. I haven't always been authentic. There are moments when I will walk into a room and I am giving them just exactly what I think that they want.
Sure.
And then I have to dial it back and look at myself and say, what the hell are you doing right now? This is not who you are. This is not who Helena is. Shut up. Go sit down. Sometimes I catch myself right mid-sentence and I'm like, oh my God, these are not my people. I need to go sit down, or, oh, I've just offended half the room,
Yeah.
But if it's something that I think needs to be said, then I'll just keep on offending.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes I might need to dial it back and say,
Yeah. It's that code switching in life.
Yeah. But trying to always be self-aware and try to present an authentic self, which I think is so funny to talk about being authentic when, part of my life is here's Anthony and then here's, Helena. So creating a character of someone who you are not is hardly being authentic. But I think she has her own authenticity to present.
Oh, I would disagree. I think you're authentically, both at the same time, and the way that you handle both is your authenticity shining through.
Right.
But yeah, I see
Thank
what
you.
you're saying too. I mean it.
And I couldn't do any of this. I could not, all of my time and energy and effort that I put into LexArts, back to that, it is such a passion of mine. And then with Helena creating her own art, performance art, I couldn't do any of the stuff that I do if it wasn't for, I've been in a relationship for 34 years and still my best friend and the love of my life, always will be. We will be buried beside each other. We already have a beautiful little piece of property out there at Lexington Cemetery with a lake view. Okay, it's a pond, but there's a fountain.
There's a fountain.
So when the throngs of people are making their way to bring flowers,
see you and Jim Varney and Henry Clay,
all the people, just come and see us all. Just have a little cocktail party. I've ordered a flat headstone so you'll have a place to sit your cocktail.
Oh, you're so that is so kind. Considerate is what you are.
I'm thoughtful like that. By golly,
yes. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Well, honey, gosh, this went so fast.
So fast. Yes.
so
I
much.
know.
This was
Thank you.
fun.
Yeah.
I hope I gave you something you can use.
So many things.
So many things. you
So
can use.
inspirational.
Oh my God.
Always.
Yeah. If Helena's nothing, if Anthony's nothing, they are inspirational
And authentic.
and authentic
right.
and mouthy and fun and loving
Yes.
and hopeful and wishful and spiritual. And she's all the things. He's all the things. We are all the things. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm schizophrenic, and so am I.
I love that.
So
What a way to end it.
so inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank
Love
you.
ya.
Yeah, I love you. That was